straighten my lashes, and sip slow. Because, baby, Arionne Curry, I need you to report to the front of the congregation and don't tiptoe, don't shuffle, just have a seat. Because this ain't encouragement, this is a dragon. This right here is a response to that little Instagram live you did yesterday. Yes, ma'am. The one where you sat there looking like your filter was working harder than your storyline. Sis with the T is clocked in. My mic is hot. And my tongue is sharper than a 2-for-1 coupon decline, baby. And tonight, I'm reading you so deep, you gonna need therapy, a fan, and a prayer cloth to recover. So, girl, come sit down. Pull that little plastic chair up, cross your legs if you can, and lean in. Because I need your undivided attention. And don't you dare blink, because, baby, this right here, this is for you and you alone. Now, listen, you love to holler, I'm that girl on the internet. You love to twirl your hair, bat them lashes, and give us the Instagram captions like you are sitting on top of the world. But, baby, let me tell you the truth that no one around you has the guts to say. You are not that girl. That girl has power. That girl has presence. That girl walks in the room and the floorboards bow down. And you've been hanging around for a decade, sis, waiting on a man to finally give you the spotlight. And sure, he'll drop your name in interviews. He'll sprinkle your name into scenes on the show. He even sat down next to you a time or two on camera. But let's be clear, mentioning you is not claiming you. That ain't love. That's damage control. You're not the headline, baby. You're the side note in his excuses. That girl doesn't wait 10 years for a man to introduce her. That girl doesn't settle for birthday shadows and parking lot cameos. That girl doesn't inherit lawsuits and harassment charges as her happily ever after. You really had the nerve to get on Instagram with a straight face looking like your filter was doing overtime. Sitting there talking like the streets actually care about what you and Martell got going on. Girl, be serious. Nobody asked, nobody begged, and truthfully, hardly nobody tuned in. And let me tell you something. I couldn't even make it through the whole live. And the few minutes I did watch, I felt like I lost brain cells I could never get back. It was giving confusion, it was giving word salad, and it was giving nothing dressed up as something. And you sat there loud and proud as if the world was hanging on your every word. Girl, the only thing hanging was my patience. And then you had the audacity to start talking about what you cook. Baked chicken with barbecue sauce, cabbage, and baked beans, or whatever you said. Girl, bye. That ain't no Sunday dinner. That's a can opener symphony. That sounds like you opened a few cans, threw some sauce on it, and tried to call it a meal. If that's your idea of put up and pretty, then baby, the bar is just low. And then you wanted us to know that you had the kids. And the kids, yes, let's talk about that. Remember years ago when you talked about those kids? Baby, let me stop you right there. Because the moment you let Melody's kids' names cross your lips in a negative way, you disqualified yourself from any conversation about relevance and being that girl. Because only a desperate woman sitting in the shadows for over a decade would think dragging children was a flex. No, ma'am. That's not a clapback. That's a cry for help. Now let's address looks. Since you clearly want attention. Martell out here talking about you being all natural. Natural hair, natural body, natural everything. Baby, stop the press. Because everybody with two working eyes and a Wi-Fi signal can see you bought a BBL on layaway. Ain't nothing natural about a build-a-body special where the proportions still don't sit right. Sis, your surgeon tried to give you snatched, but the GPS got lost somewhere between your waistline and your thighs. And you love to holler, I'm that girl. But sis, that girl don't need filters turned up to 100 to look presentable. That girl don't need a ring light stronger than her self-esteem. That girl don't spend a decade waiting in the basement of another woman's marriage like the unwanted understudy. Ariel, you need to stop hollering, I'm that girl, online like it's your mantra. Because sis, that girl doesn't beg for recognition. That girl doesn't build her identity around being somebody's second choice. That girl doesn't spend a decade being the commercial break to another woman's movie. So let me just break it down into terms you can understand. Because that girl is Melody. And baby, you've been standing in her shadow so long, you probably need some vitamin D supplements. And Arionne, let's really talk about this little nursing school storyline Martell keeps sprinkling around like it's confetti. He said he's helping you pay for it. Helping you like he's some great savior or something. Girl, bye. You haven't worked in 4 years. 4 years is what y'all said on live. And the last time you clocked in anywhere, Martell said you was making $14 an hour. Baby, that's barely gas money in Huntsville, let alone building a life. So yes, when Martell showed up, I bet you were glad. You thought this was your plug and play moment. You thought you could slide right into Melody's spot like it was an open seat, collect the perks, the status, the lifestyle without having to build anything of your own. You thought Martell was about to be your golden ticket, but instead of plug and play, sis, you got stuck and stranded. Because here's the gag, Martell is not an empire. He's not even an upgrade. He is a foreclosure waiting to happen. And instead of securing a future, you secured his baggage, his drama, his lawsuits, and his reputation that's sinking faster than a $2 wig in the rain. So let's make this plain. Martell didn't elevate you. He parked you like a spare tire. And now you're out here smiling in his passenger seat while he's stalling, swerving, and dragging you into every ditch Huntsville, Alabama has to offer. And you're still trying to convince us and yourself that I'm that girl. Baby, it's not your happily ever after. It's never been. You didn't win Martell. You inherited Martell. And there's a difference. And you know what burns the most? You convinced yourself that being pretty, put up, and pursuing your dreams while standing behind Martell like his unpaid bodyguard makes you that girl. Girl, bye. The math ain't mathing. The calculator is broke. The batteries are dead. And the receipt paper is empty. I think it's time for a real reality check. Because Arionne, sis, you have built your entire existence around defending a man who barely defends you, around chasing a storyline that ain't never gonna air, around living in Melody's shadow and calling it a spotlight. Like you've been begging for a seat at a table that Melody designed, Melody built, Melody decorated, and Melody walked away from. Martell didn't choose you. He settled for you. He parked you like a sidecar on a broken bicycle and told you it was a throne. And you believed it. So woman to woman says, let me break it down. Pretty ain't a personality. Cute selfies and captions don't build character. And let's keep it a buck. Chasing dreams don't mean nothing if the only dream you chasing is the one Martell sold you on layaway. And baby, his credit is shot in every department, from financial to emotional and spiritual. Decline, decline, decline. But you keep posting like you out here sailing on a yacht of self-love. But the truth, you doggy paddling in the kiddie pool of validation, begging for likes, praying for claps, and drowning in the shallow end. You don't even love yourself enough to leave the audition. You still reading for a role that was never yours, standing in a casting line that closed 10 years ago. So let's call it what it really is. You weren't the choice. You were the backup plan. The spare tire he only touched when the main one went flat. The just in case chick. The gas station snack when the restaurants was closed. And instead of waking up, dusting yourself out, and driving your own car, you have been sitting in Martell's passenger seat, watching him stall, crash, and swerve into every ditch. And you smiling like you going somewhere. So every time you log on with your I'm that girl monologues, it's given a one-woman stage play called Delusion, the musical. You talk and you talk and you talk, but none of it says who you really are. You convinced yourself that the internet hates you because they don't know the real you, but sis, we do. We've seen the choices, we've seen the pattern, and we've seen the years. You're not misunderstood, you're misrepresented. And the one doing the misrepresentation is you. So here's my final sip, Arionne. And this one is for you. Let me wrap this up nice and messy, the way you like your Instagram captions. You can keep hollering pretty all day long, but pretty fades. You can keep talking about being put up, but child, you've been put up in the dark for 10 years. And pursuing dreams, please. The only dream you've been pursuing is the one Martell pawned off on you. And the check for that dream bounced years ago. You're not a wife. You're not a legacy. You're not a boss. You are the aftershock of Martell's poor decisions. You're the clearance rack item folks glance at and keep walking. You're not the headline. You're the asterisk at the bottom of the page, and even the fine print don't care. So when you look in the mirror and whisper, I'm that girl, I want you to remember this. That girl doesn't beg for mentions. That girl doesn't clap back from the shadows. That girl doesn't spend a decade in rehearsal for a role she'll never book. You're not that girl. You're the cautionary tale. And baby, if you don't like it, change it. Simple. But until you do, the streets, the blogs, and this mic right here are gonna keep calling it what it is. Pitiful, predictable, and played out. And that's the final sip. I'm gonna need y'all to go ahead and like this video, share it with your friends, and make sure you subscribe because baby, over here we don't sip lukewarm. We sip it hot, brew a bowl, and serve with enough bite to make even delusion shake in its boots. I'm sis with the tea, and honey, don't spill it unless it's worth sipping. Bye, y'all.
Ooh, y'all. So the tea has been spilled, honey. I'm Sis with the tea, and this was your dose of reality, raw and unfiltered. So, as always, stay real, stay ready, and remember, don't spill tea unless it's worth sipping. Bye, y'all.